are here at the end of Demo 2024, and what a trip it's been.
Unbelievable, Mac. I mean, at the end of the day, when you
Yeah,
think about all of the prep work from concept generation and building out this new product,
right.
from all of the test sites that we did, Canada 18, Canada 20, Canada 24, and then all of the domestic based in the States.
Right.
When we started doing the testing of the pillow and tea company that
Hmm.
has come out of concept generation in Washington, D.C. And then all of the work that we did in Virginia in preparing for Thinklyn Demo 2024, Euro 2024. To here, we had our first show, our
Hmm.
podcast for the followers of
Right.
Thinklyn, and also MGSN. By the way, big shout out for them for covering this and for putting our podcast on there for the young entrepreneurs who follow MGSN, who are looking for the insights on how to get past difficult moments.
Yeah,
This has been a live presentation of that, hasn't it?
it's been incredible. And yeah, again, shout out to our sponsors, MGSN and Thinklin. And really, like the way you just laid it out there, we've been some of these companies. We've been in concept generation and really developing since all the way back to 2018, 2017. And going through all these different, um, you know, demonstrations with them and developments and workshops and constant development phases. It's been incredible to see what's come out of it. I mean, we've had so many different brands and companies come forward with us on this journey, and to now be able to launch so many new companies and really work with them strategically with a lot of our partners. It's been just really cool to see uh, past couple years and how it's developed out.
Well, let's look at what we've done with a great collaboration between two companies. One
Hmm.
is a graduate of the KLG incubator,
Right.
Arc Power. Arc Power, based here in the UK, and in Kigali and in Maputo, Mozambique. Now, what I loved about that was they started collaborating with you when they were in the exit stage or the
Yeah.
graduation stage of coming out of our KLG incubator, and now you are they are one of your clients, isn't that correct?
Yeah. No, Thinklin has been it's been a great relationship with Arc Power, and Arc Power is this great startup that they're bringing renewable energy, clean, affordable uh, energy to these rural parts of Africa and Eastern Africa. And yeah, Thinklin's been able to work with them from beginning stages, but really partnered partnered up with them for real this year, and just to be able to do the marketing for a small company. I mean, that's exactly why Thinklin got into this business. Is we really are a startup for startups, and I think but every startup has so many needs. It's sales, it's marketing, it's HR, all these different legal fees. And what Thinkman does now is, yes, we take care of your marketing and your sales, but we're able to also network you and put you strategically with the right people for all those other needs. And when you're a small team for a startup, that's important. That's everything. A network, a place where you can strategically partner yourself is everything. And yeah, it's just been really exciting times for them. They're about to take off. Uh,
I'll tell you what we kind of appreciate from the law firm's vantage point is that once a client works with us
mhm.
into what they can and can't represent in a pitch deck, then the real question is how do you take that pitch deck and make it stand out? And one of the things that,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, uh, not to not finish my sentence, but this is an important point.
Yeah.
One of the things that, if you're sitting on an investment committee, you're getting bombarded with these pitch decks, bombarded with them. If you are in a position where you're ready for financing, or you have an innovative idea and you're going to an angel investor or a venture capitalist,
Hmm.
your pitch deck has got to show that this concept generation is more than just a bunch of dry words and formulas. It's
Hmm.
got to grab their attention. And
Yeah.
we love the work that you did with Arc Power.
That's that was one of our biggest product developments with them. Just getting the marketing assets and materials ready for a startup to be able to present, to be able to pitch. I mean, a pitch deck is no longer just a PowerPoint, in front of investors. It really has to be a virtual asset, a digital asset that your company takes the time to develop the right way. And it needs to be clean. It needs to be concise. It needs to be clear. It needs to be an attractive digital asset. Your branding guidelines. All these things are important when you're presenting your company for the first time in front of investors. And with Arc Power, it was so seamless to work with them to develop that because it's really important. They have such an amazing mission and business model. And if you can't capture that, and can't grab the investor's attention, I mean, it doesn't matter how good your product is. It doesn't matter how good your mission is. And Arc Power has a great product and a great mission, but without that sales, without a company like Thinklyn
Yeah.
to be able to create something like that, or to be able to get your product in front of the market, in front of the right eyes, in front of the right investors, it's so important.
One of the things that when you run an incubator, what you like to see in your portfolio is the ability to have collaborations that generate business opportunities and the ultimate goal, sales, money.
Mhm.
That the companies are starting to make money together. And
Yep.
one of the things that you have to do is, in order for you to be successful, you need to have a strategic network, a network that's properly aligned with the business models we have. Now let's go back to our magnificent first podcast that we did in Ennis, in Galway. We were based in Ennis. We had the show in Galway. A company that you have been working really hand in
Mhm.
glove with in a collaboration sense is Pillow and Tea,
Yeah.
which is a fantastic tech company that specializes in logistics
Yeah.
and hospitality. And they set up those office spaces for us when we needed them for work that we had to do back in the States, but
Incredible.
also a beautiful studio.
Yeah.
And look at the studio here as we start to wrap up. Here we are in London. We're right over London Bridge there. And what a beautiful studio this is.
It's just incredible. And Pillow and Tea, they did all the travel logistics for Demo24. So shout out to them. I mean, incredible startup, great founder, woman led team over there at Pillow and Tea. And this tech company, the travel logistics, I mean, we present it as a tech company because they were able to seamlessly get all of our team and all of our people here and partners on this app, this incredible app that they're able to arrange where the itinerary's there, the schedule's there, and like always in travel, things come up, and Pillow and Tea was able to develop this amazing instrument that was able to update in real time. So got to change the schedule or something came up, we got to actually go over here to this city and develop this. They're able to seamlessly update it. So the tech's incredible. The people are incredible. The team over there at Pillow and Tea are great. And I mean, look at this beautiful space. We're able to be productive today. We're able to sit down and have this great interview. And the weather here, it's even like we're able to bring the great weather with us as well. So shout out to Pillow and Tea.
And particularly they earned their keep because one of the lessons that we did, we spent a little over 2.5 weeks in France, and we wrapped it around event-based marketing. See, you can
Mhm.
stay in a methodology of using sales cadence and emailing and cold calls. Great, very important to do.
Right. Right.
But you really need to get that hot lead. One of the ways to get a hot lead is event-based marketing.
Mhm.
And event-based marketing, what you're again building out strategic network partners. Now, of course, being a tech company, what Pill and Tea was able to do was navigate the technology involved in setting up events
Mhm.
that each one of the participants that were on this business development trip would want to participate in. And the whole idea of doing this was to say, okay, I can put together a package of corporate retreats that
Right.
will wrap yourself around events And we had a test run in Washington, D.C., I believe it was in May,
Yep.
with the Washington Nats game and a concert by Flo Rida.
Fantastic event. Yep.
And that proved to be a great testing ground here well, over in Paris, while we were over there, and being able to strategically network with events like an Olympics or like MLB is
Mhm.
real important, because that is an initial drawer, and then that leads to creating the business environments that you want to have these discussions and to bring parties together. And I thought that the work that you guys did was really good, because and you have to also know your client. Like for us,
Yeah.
we'll take subways, metros, buses. I'll drive a turtle. It's going to get me there. So she knew that, okay, look, you by using the technology on the Paris Metro, or Immobilier, is the whole public transportation system. They say, look, we can get you a car
Yeah.
that will get you out to Parc des Princes.
Right.
But you're much better taking the metro, and here's why. And
Yeah.
I said, boom, we're done. And we got in and out. We were never late for anything.
No, no.
That was on there.
They have incredible offerings. And you bring up a great point, Jerry, with um, what Pillow and Tea was able to do with the event-based marketing and be able to set that up for us is they offer this for, and you wouldn't think of this, but because of that offering, they allow our sales process to get better, to be refined, because it's all about qualifying, right? And how do you qualify leads? How do you get a better lead? If you're looking for that one investor or that one thing that's going to really set your company, forward, you need to be able to qualify and get the right person. But also, when you bring them to these events and you meet the people in person and these teams in person, you get to qualify them. So it's both things. You get to qualify, get more leads, but also see if they're the right fit. And I think that's super important for startups when these partnerships at the very beginning stages are so important. And what Pillow T allowed us to do is create these great events, bring these potential leads together, and then we were able to see, hey, is this the right fit?
I tell you another thing I liked about Pillow and Tea is they have a obviously the B2B product, but they have a B2C, the consumer. So let's just say you're saying, gee, I'd like to do something different today. I'd like to do, or this year, I want to go on a summer vacation next year. What
Hmm.
I found is if you're just an individual, maybe you're in Chicago and you'd say, gee, I've always heard about this island called the Aran Islands off the coast of Ireland, where it's truly that time has it in fact stood, and you got people who are speaking in the Irish language, living much the way their ancestors lived, agrarian society in this very remote island off the coast of Ireland, and now building up a infrastructure in
Yeah.
order to facilitate that. That was a test for us. We were
Yeah.
testing this product line in order to see, is this something that we would support, in this incubator of this new company? And it was flawless. How the infrastructure that Pill and Tea set up to get us over there, it was an easy task because
Right.
we were based in Ennis.
That was
So we had to
incredible.
get from Ennis to Doolin in Galway, and then get on a ferry that would take us over this
Hmm.
island, and then have people over there who were phenomenal people,
Incredible.
absolutely phenomenal people who took us over and gave us the whole history. And we're going to see,
Yeah.
I believe MGSN is going to be publicizing some of the short reels and some of the fantastic photography that she was able to take over there.
Yeah.
So it was a bang up success as we're here wrapping up Thinklyn Demo Euro 2024, and our eyes and minds start thinking about next year in Asia 2025. But before we get into that, before I got here a little late to the studio because I had some legal matters I had to take care of. But I noticed there was a great interview, and I can't wait for the young entrepreneurs, and maybe they're not so young entrepreneurs that are out there, and people who are now thinking about, okay, I'm getting squeezed out of a job. I'm in my 60s.
Hmm.
My health isn't all that great. Is this entrepreneurial world just for young kids, or is it open to people who are willing to say, okay, here's my social security. I can't really afford to live in New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, or frankly, really any of the states. Is there other places for me to go to where I
Yeah.
can live a productive life and build a company out? Now, what I liked about Madusanté is part of what drives a good entrepreneur is no matter what goes wrong, and believe you, things went wrong on this trip right here in London, which we'll get to. Is you got to take the time to sort of heal when something goes wrong, but then you got to
Hmm.
get right back into it. And I watched this interview, and I believe MGSN is going to be covering it.
Yeah, and
And
you'll
it's
be
a
able to
fantastic
see it.
interview.
Yeah, you'll be able to see it on their website as well, Madusanté.com. I mean, this incredible founder, she, every time we do work with them, I mean, it's seamless, and I think the founders, like you were talking about, Jerry, is a perfect example of, hey, anyone can be an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter what age, it doesn't matter, if you're, what sex, anything. It's all on the table for you, as if you have that grit, if you have that passion. And I think for, when Thinklyn, we start with these startups, so our big mantra is go start your startups. Go start it. It's not going to, everyone has an idea. No one wants to take that first step. And it's all about executing. And what Thinklin tries to do is take your idea and set you up with the right people and the right partnerships to take this on. And Madusanté is a great example of that. I mean, just see the content that they're putting out and the positivity that they're giving into the world with their wellness, purpose. It's really incredible to see. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the prep sessions that we're going to be doing in a new product line that you're working with the logistics and
Hmm.
hospitality tech group Pillow and Tea in creating a corporate resort area for business developments. It could be a weekend trip, a day trip. Can you give us a little insight into this? And I'd like to talk about how
Yeah.
this will develop into Asia 2025.
Yeah, so we've been discussing, even right now, about how important it is to find the right network, get the right partners to strategically go forward, especially for startups. And um, we have this incredible studio that Thinklin works in and works with in Massachusetts. It's Wheelhouse Cowork. You can go to the website wheelhousecowork.com. And it's a perfect reminder when we're going on Demo24. We went to Paris and Station F right there in Paris and over 1,000 startups. And it was such a refreshing trip for all of our people, especially in your incubator to see because, it's important to surround yourself with that entrepreneurial spirit, with other startups, with other founders, because, they have what you need and there's so much value to be shared and to move forward together. And and a big reason what Pillow and Tea is doing with Wheelhouse Cowork is developing that out because it's an incredible place on the coast of Massachusetts where people can visit, but also where people can be productive. So to bring everyone together as either a corporate retreat, a place to do some workshops, a place to develop, different product lines. That's what we're trying to develop in partnership with Pillow and Tea because there's incredible logistics involved with this, and then the Wheelhouse Cowork with their beautiful space there in Gloucester, Massachusetts. So just super excited about that. But it just again reemphasizes how important that network is, how important those strategic partnerships are at the beginning of your startup journey.
Mac, one of the things that I thought was really real important, and it's something I'm going to give you a shout out. And I know you've been very generous in giving a lot of people shout outs, but I want to give you a shout out on this one. So, look, guys, we had a little bit of, not a little bit, a significant hiccup here in London. Another company that's in our incubator is a LPO firm that's based in Pune, India. They do a lot of legal support. They do a
Mhm.
bang up job
Incredible team.
that's on there. And they also do both the litigation support and transactional support. And they've built this magnificent world class global capability center. It's called a GCC. Now, Mac, you've been working on a new version of a GCC.
Yeah,
And what's that called?
yeah. Happy to announce that with partnership with SKJ Juris over in India. We have our own GCC that we're developing with them. But instead of it being a global capability center, it's a global creative center. And our creative agency Thinklyn is very much passionate about developing this with them because there's so much talent over there that can be sourced, and an incredible space that they provide. And like always, we've worked with them, helping develop their LPO and market their LPO. They're just a great team, and being able to work with them, developing this, so we can offer our clients a whole creative suite at a cheaper price and a higher quality. That's everything. So yes, the GCC, the Global Creative Center, is here, and Thinklyn's at the forefront of it, and we're super excited.
So one of the things that we got really excited about that too, and one of the things we talked about was bringing over two long-term lawyers who I've worked with over the years, based out of Pune, India. Unfortunately,
Mm,
the immigration procedures got bogged down like at a bad time. I
yeah.
mean, we were on track to. We've been meeting with our lawyers all over the world, from the
Hmm.
United States, all throughout Europe and Asia, and we never had the issue that we had, and it came out of the blue. Suddenly,
Hmm.
they adjourned their meeting to September afterwards. Now, that was a setback. And by the way, it was a big financial hit for us because we had put together a whole program and
Right.
invested in the program in which there'd be a collaboration between our companies in Africa and in Asia, and we would be planning for direct planning for Asia 2025. So
Hmm.
there was clearly that's something that I really want to emphasize. You're going to have bad days, and you're going to lose
Yeah.
money when you're an entrepreneur. But I'll tell you what, you're not going to lose. You're not going to go in one day thinking you have a job, and somebody says you just got yourself laid off, because I kind of can control when not to say that every day's a rosy day, because it's far from it. And there are a lot of times you say, "Oh God, how am I going to get off the floor on this one?" And
Yeah.
wouldn't it be nice to have a nice, secure paycheck coming in? But the problem is, I don't see that as a very viable option. And by the way, a lot of people in your generation
Hmm.
and Gen Z are also saying, "I don't see that as a very viable option."
No.
I certainly chose the path to be an entrepreneur very young, because I was going to say, "Wait a minute." I have to go to a boss who has to go to another boss to beg for a day off for a weekend wedding. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Um,
And even though it's the name of the game, you're going to have days and logistic hiccups and things like that. But you have to love that, because at the end of the day, you're working for yourself. You're working to grow yourself. And with that journey, you're able to be your own boss. And I think that's extremely attractive nowadays, because what millennial and the younger generations like Gen Z have been discovering when they're out of college is, yeah, I could go work for the man. I can go work for these companies and put my blood, sweat, and tears and heart into it. If there's no security, I almost everyone in my age bracket, and also a lot of good friends that have worked with a lot of these tech companies and bigger companies. To go 3 6 months before they have to find a new job. They rarely last more than a year. There's such a quick turnaround, and there's no loyalty there, while the employer expects the loyalty. So I just say, for people out there that really are, they're passionate, they're gritty, they are have that entrepreneurial spirit. If you have any of that, really, reach out to Thinklyn. Go try to execute your idea, because there's so much more opportunity out there. And I think, in my view, there's more security. Because that veil of security actually in reality doesn't exist right now. And I feel like investing in yourself is a lot more of a security for the future than anything else.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what I posted on MGSN's X account. I'm saying to the followers at MGSN, who happen to be a
Yeah,
lot of them are
a
young
lot of crossover.
entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
and I said, "Listen, guys, we just had a big setback. Cost me some money. And we don't know exactly how to deal with that. But what an entrepreneur does
Hmm.
is, okay, you get that one bad day, two bad days, whatever it is, and you do have to have time to recover, because this came out of the blue,
Totally.
and it really messed up what we wanted to achieve here in London. But what we then did was, before we got here, while we were in the latter stages of Paris, we had all sorts of concept generation that we would do to resolve. Remember, concept generation is a very important thing to do because it's
Hmm.
an academic exercise. And I call it academic because you just can't come up with an idea. You got to research it. So we started brainstorming,
Super
and
important.
we went and we repositioned this, and this failed part of the London trip, and then we then switched it over to your product that you're developing
Hmm.
with this corporate resort
Hmm.
that you're building out there on the coast of Massachusetts. And right now, we're in the position of taking the companies from Africa here in the UK, their main office here in the UK, SKJ, getting them over into Massachusetts. Sometime I believe it's in October.
Yeah.
We're striving for, and then we're going to reposition the offering. And then I want to announce one thing here, if I can.
Yeah.
On the GCC, what I have been involved in for many, many years has been the development of renewable energy projects in East Africa, and now we're moving into the southern part of Africa. One of the biggest problems with carbon emissions when you do renewable energy
Mm,
projects in Africa is most of the infrastructure is manufactured here in Europe or in China, and
correct.
shipping it to Africa creates a tremendous carbon footprint. What we're looking to do is some of the top flight is we're going to open up some of the top flight manufacturing capabilities. We're going to open up in the GCC a manufacturing consultancy that will be based out of Pune. And what we're going to really look to do is cut that carbon footprint down in Africa
Yeah.
significantly by having a manufacturing plant that we will train people who are residing in the communities that is going to get this
Absolutely.
this energy product,
Yeah.
whatever that might be, biogas or renewable energy from renewable sources, electricity, and we're going to build these manufacturing plants in an ethical and environmentally safe way. So
Yeah.
we have a lot of work to do,
Huge development, though.
but we're going to, when we get over to Asia, we're going to also be consulting with international real estate development firms to say, okay, this is what we want. We want to build an ethical plant, a plant that is also environmentally comporting with the goal of reducing carbon emissions.
Hmm.
And we're going to start this consultancy, Concept Generation, when we're over in Pune, India, in February, I believe, of 2025.
Super excited about when we look forward to Demo 2025 in Asia. This it's super important because all our followers should be excited about this. How to ethically make your supply chain basically more ethical and more sustainable. The supply chain is everything. I mean, even with the startups, all the startups we work with. I mean, this suit I'm wearing, the phones, the cameras, everything has a supply chain. How do you make it more ethical? How do you make that more sustainable? Because that's how we're going to be able to solve a lot of these issues we have all over this world. And I think Demo 25, the developments that Thinklyn and MGSN are involved with, and your incubator, being able to strategically partner with these people to make these supply chains more ethical is super important. And I think our followers, I hope, are able to, get involved with a lot of these movements, especially Arc Power, arcpower.co. I mean, they're an incredible startup that is trying to make these supply chains more ethical, more sustainable, to help combat this incredible climate change issue that we have. And it's our generation, my generation, and the younger generations are going to have to start acting and enough of the talk, enough of complaining. We have to take action. So please, there's startups that are doing the hard work on the ground right now, and we're about to go to Demo 2025 in Asia to try and really develop these things. So I would just really appreciate if people following along could go, follow Arc Power, follow us at Thinklyn and MGSN to and help support us and come along into this movement because this is the issue of our generation. And it's climate change and helping solve this issue.
And you know what's great about you guys is first off, you did a bit of an innovative approach, which you presented to us when I got to Virginia
Mm,
in a prep session. You said, look, we want to be the sponsors here. We want to take, we want to have some input into sponsoring, us being the incubating companies that's on there. And what I really loved about it was you practiced what you preached. And you presented to everybody. Now, some people wanted the cars, the
yeah.
limos, they wanted that. There's nothing we can do about that. But then
Right.
you convince people like myself and say, look, let's jump on let's not take the private planes. Let's not take even business class. Let's get into the cheapest possible way. So obviously, we love the fact that you were protecting the cash burn there, and you flew coach over, and then
Yeah.
while I would say we were accompanying you and Pillow and Tea throughout the metros in Paris and here in
Yeah.
London, where and you really were utilizing even going out to Marseille. I was saying, well, why don't we just take a plane there? And you said, well, wait a minute, there's a train, the
Yeah.
RERC, that will take us out there. And I said, oh,
Great,
okay.
great public transportation, by the way. But you hit on two huge notes, Jerry. Is that at Thinklyn, our two big things is protect protect the earth, but also protect the runway. For a startup, you got investors, or you're bootstrapping yourself. You only have a certain amount of runway. So, in order to make that sustainable and to really push out that runway, you have to think about affordability, sustainability, and ethics. And when you're going through, when we talk about supply chain, we're all our own supply chain, going throughout our daily lives, and the choices that we make every single second of our lives. And it affects you personally, the people around you, and the startup you're building. So protect your runway, protect earth, think consciously. And the great thing about these different startups that we're working with is they all believe in this stuff that we're talking about. It's one thing to say it, there's another thing to actually do the hard work. I mean, the incredible team at Arc Power there. I work hand in hand with the Kigali team, specifically in Rwanda, and they all have bought into this completely, and they live it too. The same team with Madusanté, the way that that founder travels and the way she speaks about that positivity, incredible. And I would just say the big theme of, I think, what we're talking about is build these relationships. If you're a startup and you have these clients, build those relationships and get them to talk to each other, because there's value to be shared here. And if they're not all connecting and networking, you're not doing enough work. And I think the big thing that we're discovering, and why we do these demo trips, with Thinklyn and all these people in your incubator, is because we really believe that there's value. When you work on a relationship and you build that, it's because there's value there, and it's better to share it, because that's how we're going to solve these issues, make the world a better place, and ultimately grow and make ourselves.
Hey guys, this isn't just talk. Yesterday, I was at a meeting with ARC and Thinklyn, and I sat down there. And one of the things was refreshing was Mac. We were talking about the various COP programs.
Mm,
Important, not denigrating them. We got to keep this momentum going, but there's a lot of young people there who are saying you are going at a snail's pace. Now, we talked about this in Virginia
yeah.
when we were prepping on this, but one of the things I liked about was in Virginia.
So yeah.
Okay, so what's interesting is take a gander at that. It's on the MGSN network, MGSN.net, and you're going to see where Mac is challenging people out there who are potentially the victims of this climate change, a young millennial, Gen Z, and younger generations that are on there. Say, look, it's great a cop would do what they're supposed to do, but it's going at a snail's pace. And do we have a snail's pace time? But we have to come up with some solutions ourselves. And you came up. I witnessed this yesterday, guys. I witnessed it yesterday. There is, and I'm not going to, divulge anything because you guys are in the works here, but you are currently working on a solution that if you are a young person frustrated in Colombo, Sri Lanka,
Mhm,
frustrated in New York City, frustrated here in London, frustrated in Mumbai,
mhm.
no matter where you are in the world, you're coming up with a potential solution that is going to allow them, all of us, to come in and say, I don't have to wait for some government or international organization. I can just follow along what Thinklyn is going to have as an offering that will help us abate this climate crisis that Mac's talking about. But more of that will come probably at Asia 2025.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
I know you got a lot of work that you're going to be working with here in London and back in Boston. Mac, I can only say this was a great endeavor that we took, building out this product line that
This
you
is
have.
great.
The
Yeah.
DEMO24, now DEMO25 in Asia. It's hard to believe. At first, this was a little daunting to plan,
Yeah.
but everybody worked really hard on this.
It's great though, Jerry, because at the end of the day, this was a challenge, but I mean, with life, the same thing with life. I think the most challenging things usually get rewarded the most when you go after them. And I think for people, and we always say, go start your startups. I mean, that's what is being asked of you. There's a challenge out there in the world, a problem that needs to be solved. And we all know, we all see the numbers. Most startups fail, most businesses fail, but because there's a challenge there. There's a challenge in the market. There's a problem in the world that needs to be solved. And the reason most people fail is because it's hard. It's hard to solve problems. You have to execute. You actually have to do the hard work. So, but I think that's incredible. I think anyone should look at that and be like, well, being an entrepreneur isn't making money or having nice things. It's about being a problem solver, wanting to strap down and be gritty and go and solve that challenge and be and want that and love to challenge yourself and to really solve issues for people all over the world. And I think for Thinklyn, that's why we're in this business. We want to help solve problems. We want to get people involved in that process, because the more and more people do, the more and more these issues are resolved, and the more this world is able to grow. So I think that's the biggest thing for demo 2024, and looking forward to demo 25 is just exactly that.
Well, listen, guys, I'm gonna do something that I think is very symbolic of what Mac is working on in Africa. I'm not going to have the last word here. There's a new generation that's looking for the new business news and the new ethical news that are out there. And MGSN is a media company that actually provides that. But the sourcing of much of the information, the infrastructure of much of the information comes from a young millennial firm. So I'm done talking, Mac.
I just want to say to our viewers and our followers, there's so much important right now in our time in history. There's so much important things happening, decisions to be made, and actions that we need to do to solve a lot of these things in the world that need to be solved. So my calling for you out there that care about the world, that care about climate change, that care about helping people, go start your startups.